I'm gonna go insane. 360 got me spinning, now you're on my brain. Yeah. No, I don't wanna hit the brakes. Gotta make a move on me if you got what it takes, yeah. I got to feel it, got to breathe it, you're the remedy. Everything I need, everything I need. La 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 la. Let me back to life. Let me back to life. La 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 la. Living that good life. Give me that good life. La 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 la. Let me back to life. Let me back to life. La 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 la. Living that good life. Give me that good life. I'm gonna go insane if I don't get you here to keep me entertained. Yeah. No, I don't wanna hit the brakes. Gotta make a move on me if you got what it takes, yeah. I got to feel it, got to breathe it, you're the remedy. Everything I need, everything I need. I got to feel it, got to breathe it, you're the remedy. Everything I need, everything I need. La 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 la. Let me back to life. Let me back to life. La 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 la. Living that good life. Give me that good life. La 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 la. Let me back to life. Let me back to life. La 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 la. Living that good life. Give me that good life.
Da 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 da. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Bum, 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 bum. What's up, party people in the house?
What up, though?
Welcome to Axis Live, one of the sexiest voices in the SFL,
Mr. Master.
Dave Axis. What's up, party people of the SFL? What's going on? What's happening? What's cracking tonight? Let's hope my microphone sounds better. Let me know if I sound like I'm on a hot mic or all crackly like I did last week. But in the meantime, welcome to Axis Live. I'm your host, Dave Axis. This is episode 3 of season 20. It's my 133rd show, but who's counting? A couple quick things before I get to our panelists and the party people in the chat as I see all of you rolling in. Last week I mentioned to you about all the coffee mugs that I've been collecting. I'm going to do that behind me. As you can see, I have a different background tonight because it's under construction behind me. So hopefully by next week or the week after, you guys will be able to see my mug or my mugs, my mug collection. You sound hollow to me. Oh, maybe because I'm too far away from the mic. Let's see. How's that? Is that better? Does that sound better? Hello? Albert began. I was told there was pie in your eye, buddy. That's about it. Last week, I also mentioned how anybody if wanted to contact me from other teams, you could send me some mugs. One team did, so I'm using their mug tonight, and that is from... Oh, can you see it? There it is. Boop, boop, boop. The 4-time SFL champion, Baltimore Vultures. TJ, thank you for the mug. Appreciate it, buddy. So I will be drinking out of that tonight. Also, I wanted to show you guys. I forgot to mention this last week for my soccer team in another league. I don't know what's going on with this camera. I guess this background shit's kind of weird. Doug Britton made me a special Yeti for my Knox City team. So that was kind of cool. So I want to throw a shout out to Doug Britton as well. Speaking of Doug Britton, if you go into the Access Live Discord now, in addition to in addition to the everything else that's in there, uh, the SFL, I put in, you've got the Discords in there now, the Discord link, the website, the scores, and the standings. And I've also added goals, the hockey league that a lot of us are in there as well. So if you're interested in that, feel free to go check that out. The Discord's in there as well as the standings and the scores. I want to real quick, before I get to the party people, remind everybody, we had a couple drawing winners recently. Last week, the first person to guess who the guest host was BJ Loveless. So BJ, adding you to the list of swag I will be sending out this week. And then I had to draw another name for people who answered the fourth question in the Access Live server. And that was Nacho. Nacho, what's up, bro? Nacho, DM me your address and I'll shoot you some Access Live swag. You were the winner of the drawing for question number 4. For those of you who may not have answered, question number 4 had to do with rigged. Bullet saying it's rigged. You know what's weird? When I pulled his name, I was like, shit. Out of the 4 people I picked the names for drawings, 3 of them have been owners. I'm not saying that I lean that way because I'm an owner now or anything, but the last question in the Access Live server was about if I should change up some content or whatever. It was overwhelmingly no. So we'll keep the show as is for now, as long as you guys are still loving it. So let's check out the party people. You guys know you are my favorite part of the show. You're the reason why I even do the show. Without you, there is no show. First person in is the lovely, amazing, perfect Pink Lisa in the house. Second is my man Harish. And then Zach Holdorf, Ray, BJ Loveless, Bullet Boletsky, Ricky Spider, Kendra, let me see here, Justin Reside, Neil Rivers, Gunny's in the his house. Good to see all of you. Art Vandalay, good to see you as well. Did I see a comment by Harish somewhere? I've had as many injuries in the last 2 weeks as he's had in his whole career. If you've only had 2 injuries, Harish, your whole career, how do you have this stigma about you? I don't get it. I won't have another injury for the rest of my career, so this is going to be like gone. People won't even remember me, and they'll still be talking about your injuries. Let me see here. Did I say Art Vandalay? My main man, Dave from San Antonio. Dave Terry, what's up, buddy? Nacho's in the house. Nacho, congrats on the swag. BJ Loveless, congrats on the swag as well. Axel Raven, great job last week on the show. Thanks for being here. Pseudo Nakai in the house, folks. That guy is having a breakout season already. David Leathers, the best first name in the SFL, is in the house with us as well. Let me see. Who else is here? Who am I missing? Josh Farnsey. Josh, interesting. We're going to talk about the pick'ems later, and you'd be surprised how well or how not well you did. Albert Begin in the house with pie in his eye, apparently. I said Bullet already. Crazy Canuck, what's up? Good to see you. Chad Lee in the house as well. Thank you. Doug Britton, good to see you, buddy. Who else am I seeing? Is that everybody? Am I missing anybody? As always, TJ Harper, what's up, bro? Twin Screw, what's going on, buddy? Long time no talk. How you been, man? If I miss you and you're in the chat right now, go ahead and at me in the chat. Brooke and Mike Music sneaking in at the last second under the wire. Welcome, everybody, to Access Live. All the party people, love to see you guys. Now let's move on to meeting tonight's panelists. In the very first circle, the one at the very top right next to me, is somebody who's not feeling well today. They are under the weather, so they did not want to be on camera. But like a trooper, they're on the show anyway, and they are here to, do what they committed to. So kudos to him, props to him. But I had him send me a picture, so you get to stare at his mug the entire show anyway, just like you would the rest of us. Welcome back to the show. But for the first time this season, Nate Hall's with us, folks. Nate, what's going on, bro? How you doing, man?
I've been better, but like you said, I wouldn't miss it for the world. Got to do the show, and glad to be here. And thanks for having me on tonight.
Great to have you. Glad this is your first show this season, though, right?
It is indeed.
It is. Okay. All right. In the middle spot is the DPP for your Minnesota legend. He also plays free safety, and he also hosts a show with Axel Raven that is Minor Fights and Insights. I don't know if it's going to roll this season up, but we can go straight to the source right now. Daniel Wright, everybody. Welcome to the show. Daniel, what's up and what's going on with the show, man?
Well, we're still in the process of figuring things out with the show. Axel wants to take a leave. We're trying to figure out who'll take the place with him. I might depend on college if that rolls around, but I'm doing good. Happy to be here. First time being here, actually, so it'll be fun to be interested.
Yeah, it's the first time on camera. Have you ever been on the show just on voice?
Nope,
Anything?
this is the first time ever.
Really? Wow.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
kind of. Yeah, I guess I'm the asshole. Well, after 133 shows, Daniel, welcome to the show, brother.
It's fine. This will be the best one.
Yeah, hell yeah, it will be. That's what I say every time. Justin Reside, I don't know if I already said you, but welcome to the show. And I saw T to Queen. T, what's up? Glad to see you guys got your gear today. That's cool. I think that's about it. All right, in the third circle, folks. He's no stranger to this third circle, and he's no stranger to the SFL. He's everywhere and anywhere. He's on shows. He's on broadcasts. He's on the Monday Night Show. He's everywhere. And let me tell you, I'm going to ask him the same question about his show when he comes back. Everybody, welcome Tyler Falk back to the show. Tyler, what's up? You gonna bring your show back or what?
Well, if people keep stealing my line, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to even say that line anymore. Chris steals it. Yet last night, as we leave the Monday night, Cam and Paul spectacular, and then Gunny steals it right before we come on air. I mean, does anyone really need 2 and 10? Does anyone need me to tell them things that they don't already know?
Bro, you can't trust anybody anymore, man. I don't know what to say. Unbelievable.
Maybe Netma comes back. I had a lot of fun creating that first Netma snapshots for week 1. So,
well, there you go.
We'll see.
Okay,
we'll see if we bring Netma back.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. You've heard it both from Daniel and Tyler, so we'll see what's going on with their shows. Also, welcome TP Tac 11 to the show. What's up? Tom Krieg is in the house with us now. Finally, about time you showed up, bro. And all right, folks, here we go. Guest host time. Start throwing your guesses out. You got about 10, 15 seconds. Love you too, Doug Day. Glad you got your gear and everything is good to go on it. Who's our guest host this week, folks? If you're the first one to guess it correctly, you'll win some swag. Zach Holdorf saying the commissioner. No. Somebody saying Mike O'Neill. No. Somebody saying Eddie. No. Eagle. No. The Ghost of Christmas Past. That's a possibility. Pink Lisa. Everybody guesses Pink Lisa. No, it's not Chad again, Kendra. Come on. Tom Krieg, if it's you, we have a problem. Johnny, Jack Brown. Wow, there's a lot of guesses and nobody's got it right yet. I don't know. What should we show? Should we just say screw it? Nobody gets. Oh, Charles is a guest. Ray, Buck. Wow. Jack Wall. I don't think I've ever seen this many wrong answers before. Liam Hammer. Nope. Chris Curtis. Nope. Gunny. Nope. Wow, you guys all suck. Marcus. No. Bucky's. Oh, I wish it was Bucky's. All right, folks. Nobody's getting swag this week. I mean, that was like the most guesses we ever got, and they were all wrong. So, sorry. I will look back and see if anybody sneaks in when I watch the replay. But, ladies and gentlemen, our guest host for episode number 3 in season 20 of Access Live is none other than your Deputy Commissioner, Andrew Rastelli. Andrew, what's up, buddy? How you doing? How you been? It's been a long time since you've been on the show.
Yeah, it has been. It's really great. I'm really excited to get my swag since nobody got it right.
Oh, you know what? That's a great thing. That should be the rule, right? If they don't guess it, then the guest host gets it. Boom. There you go. DM me your address. He's going to get some Access Live swag. All right, folks, you heard it first. See, we're all changing rules on the fly and shit. That's what we do. Oh, we need a hashtag laser. Or an exclamation mark laser. We need a command, laser command. Hey, real quick, Andrew, before we dive into these games, give us like a 15-second history on this whole laser thing.
I played laser tag at Atlanta, and I had a few adult beverages beforehand. And some middle school kids were acting like they were all, big stuff, and I had to take them down a peg or two.
That reminds me of How I Met Your Mother. What's his name? Barney, right? Barney.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome, bro. All right, good. I didn't actually know about that. The one thing I ever saw was the video lasers, and you look like you were tanked, and that's all I ever knew about it.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. It was after bowling, too, which, by the way, James Klein's wife just schooled everybody.
Really?
During that, yeah. Yeah,
right.
She got I think she was the one who broke 200, and the rest of us were just floundering around at 90.
I will make sure to stay away from her at the next convention near any bowling alley. All right, Andrew, welcome to the show. Thanks for enlightening us and educating us on the laser situation. All right, folks, here we go. The laser situation. Let's start some more drama in the SFL. That'll be fun. Let me get back up here. All right, folks, let's dive into this. As you've seen on the shows, what we do, we get into bullet points, and my boy, my main man, my buddy, Bullet Boletsky's in the house. Bullet, what's going on? How you doing, bro?
What's going on, Dave?
I'm a little concerned. I only got 4 bullet points this week instead of 5. What's the deal? You getting lazy on me or what?
No, man, you guys were too well behaved last week. There was a couple of outbursts, but that's about it. I'm here for the mayhem.
All right,
I need some mayhem.
We'll see if we can fuck shit up this week. All right, so I don't know. You're right. It was pretty tame, so it'd be interesting to see what you have to say. So let's go to bullet point number 1.
All right, number 1. Dave started off the show by talking about his mug collection that no one cared about, and the change of camera angle in his studio, and his empty white wall, both of which no one cared about as well. He probably lost 25% of his viewers during the first 5-minute stretch of torture, and we all can never get that time back. Read the room, Dave.
I don't like the direction that these bullet points are going already, Bullet. All
Listen,
right.
I hit you and all the panelists last week. So
Are you hitting all of? Well, there's
one
oh,
for each of you guys.
Oh shit! All
Yeah.
right, here we go. Well, all right, then I know I'm in the clear for the rest of them at least. Damn. All right, here we go.
Exactly.
Bullet point number 2.
Number 2. When being introduced for his first appearance as a panelist on the show, Axel Raven revealed that he previously might have blacked out while hanging out with Chad
Yeah, he
Rowland
did.
last season, and he might have been slipped some Rohypnol during his alleged meeting. Now, this is a much more interesting topic of discussion than Dave's mugs, in my humble, non-expert
And this sounds
opinion.
exactly like something Chad Rowland would do as well. Bullet point number 3.
Number 3. When discussing the Vancouver game and their tight end James Walters, panelist Josh Farnsey said, he'll have games where he's blocking, and then all of a sudden, he'll explode on you. And this week, he had an explosion game. Clearly, Vancouver is finding new and creative ways to get those W's.
I'm checking the chat for Harisha's pause right now. Don't see it yet. Okay. All right. And last but not least, bullet point number 4 must be about Soto then, since you have talked about him.
Yes,
yet.
it is.
Here we go.
Indeed. Okay, Greg Soto had an entertaining segment. First, he shared that Charles blocked him for some reason and wasn't shy about showing us the screenshot to prove it. He then relayed some good advice that he got from his dad, which was, when you see someone down and hurt, step on his throat and finish him off. And then finally, he couldn't stop talking about Johnsons, most specifically, Robert Johnson of Canton. One thing is for sure, we can always count on Soto to deliver the goods.
He definitely did talk a lot about Johnson's last week.
There was a lot of Johnsons in his mouth, Dave.
There was-
A lot of Johnsons in his mouth.
All right. There's a lot of pauses about to happen in the. We need to get a hashtag, or I don't want to keep saying hashtag, exclamation mark. There you go. Exactly. We'll have to put that together for next week. By the way, Bullet, I don't know if you heard, but
Yes,
lots
sir.
of people have been putting in the chat over the last couple of shows, but they wanted a command. We added 2 more commands. If you do hashtag or fucking hashtag, you know what? Fuck. If you do,
You all right, Dave?
exclamation
You all right
mark Ray or exclamation mark Fox, we have 2 new commands this week just for you guys. So you guys, there it is right there. Fucking Ray. All right, Bullet. Thank you as always. Appreciate it. And let me see where we're at. We're only 2 minutes behind. We're doing pretty well. So maybe having that extra bullet point worked for us.
I'm going to have 14 next week, so we'll make up for it next week.
I don't doubt you. All right, Bullet. Thanks, bro. We'll
Thanks,
talk to you
Dave.
next week, man. Later.
Thanks, Dave. Bye.
All right, folks, let's dive into some football. What a crazy and fun week 2 already of the SFL. As just a quick reminder, if a panelist is on the show, they get their division automatically, and then the guest host gets their first pick, and then everybody else is just first come, first serve. So obviously, Nate playing for San Diego will kick us off in the West. And Nate, break down the West Division for us before Andrew asks you a question, and then we'll follow that up and move on. So tell us about how the West broke off this week.
Yeah, for the West, I'll start off with the Arizona-Denver game. It looks like, well, let me just start off by saying, in case anybody didn't know this already, Eddie Gage hates playing in the snow. Okay, just to say that.
He's from
for
Chicago,
well,
for
I mean,
God's sake.
for the first half of the game, it looks like he had a good game plan for playing the snow. I mean, they broke off 17 straight points in the first half and jump up to a 17-0 lead in the first half of that game against Denver, uh, including a blocked punt in that mix as well that led to some points. Looks like they had a lot of good things going. AJ was on her game, had a couple of touchdown passes in the first half to Connor Weston, as well as another one to TJ Punk. Uh, then, as Denver does whenever they are playing in the snow, they like to come back and make things interesting. Uh, Bailey O'Shaughnessy, he broke off a couple of big runs, had a touchdown, a couple of touchdowns in that second half. DJ Moses cuffed up the ball on a fumble that led to some points for Denver on a field goal. Actually, no, on a touchdown, I think. Actually, excuse me. So 21-17 is what the score was with about a little over 2 minutes left in the game. Denver had taken the lead, and then 21 straight points were total between the two teams were scored in that final 2 minutes, 2 minutes and 10 seconds. But Arizona had scored 14 of those, and they ended up winning the game 31-28. Denver did have one last opportunity at a Hail Mary, but the quarterback was sacked on that last Hail Mary attempt, and that's how the game ended. So Arizona walks away with a 2-0 record, despite not having their best game in that snowy field there in Denver. And Denver drops to 0-2. San Diego played Queen City at home. Dave Axis got hit by the injury bug once again for the second straight week in a row. However, he did have a great touchdown catch in the first half. In the first half of that game, before he went down with an injury.
Hey, I did my work and then I went to happy hour, bro. I know what to tell you.
Right. And Scar Patterson, he was on fire for that game. Uh, he's had a lot of good things happening for him early on this season. Excuse me. Um, Looking at some of the stat lines from this game uh, for San Diego, only 10 incompletions for Scar Patterson. He did throw 2 interceptions in that game, but when you have a plus side of the touchdown interception ratio, when you throw 3 touchdowns and almost 400 yards passing, that's going to do you well. And you also have uh, a running back who can pick up yards for you as well, and Sudo Nakai, who picked up 71 yards on the ground, as well as 3 rushing touchdowns to go along with Scar's 3 passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
That makes for a better game all around for the entire squad. So San Diego cruised to, despite it being closer on the scoreboards, Queen City did get a couple of scores late in that ball game,
Right.
but San Diego should have cruised
Yeah, 42-20
to an
was the
easy
final.
win.
Yeah.
Yes, cruise to an easier win in that ball game.
Okay, before I ask, Andrew's going to ask you a question, but before I do, I want to, in the chat real quick, Bullet Beletsky said, Nate's photo is staring at me no matter where in the room I move to. Please stop. This might have to be a thing. Instead of having live people, maybe I'll just have pictures up here all the time. That would be funny as hell. Andrew, go ahead. Sorry, bro.
So the West has the interesting setup right now where you have 3 teams who haven't lost and then 1 team who hasn't won. Denver's next 5 games are against Canton, Queen City, London, San Diego, and Baltimore. Is there anything that you think, or I guess should I say, do you think that Denver can pull themselves out of this hole sooner rather than later in order to have a chance at this division?
Good point.
Name those 5. Name those 5 opponents again, and I'll tell you if
Yeah.
they dig themselves out of the hole.
Canton, Queen City, London, San Diego, Baltimore.
Yeah, that's gonna be rough for them. Okay, so just by what I saw, how they played against Arizona in the snow, they did play them tough in that second half. If they can put some things together, they are a tough team to play. Um, they get some things going in the passing game. I mean, Bailey O'Shaughnessy is a monster on the ground game, but if they put the passing game along with it, they're a force to be reckoned with for any team to go up against. So I would say maybe 2 out of uh, 5 of those teams they could possibly win, but they do have a rough stretch ahead of them. So I think it's uphill sledding for them from here.
Ethan MX2, welcome to the show, as well as who else just jumped in? I saw the Bone Fossil said Axel last week, right this week. Hey, I don't know. There's, we love us some Minnesota. I don't know what to tell you, man. Dude, I feel like, and then BJ won one of the drawings. So it's like they got the whole tic-tac-toe thing going on there. All right, Nate, thanks for breaking the West down for us. Appreciate that. And Vegas had a bye, correct?
Yes, that is
Vegas
correct.
had a bye?
They were one of 2 teams, along with London, who
London.
had an early bye on the second week of the season.
Gotcha. Sounds good. All right, moving on to the Central. Speaking of Minnesota and Daniel and them over there, one of the more fun divisions with the rivalry with you guys in Indy. But with the emergence of Sioux Falls and Tulsa this week, how competitive, Daniel, before you break this down, is this Central Division becoming?
This is very competitive. Tulsa and Indy had a really good game this week alone. Everyone's 1-1. We're 2-0. I think this is going to be right down to the wire on who makes playoffs and who actually squeaks in as on the top. But can't count the legend right now. We're grooving on offense. Offense was our problem last season. We couldn't really get it together. And this season, Johnny Reno has thrown over 300 yards both games now. 5 touchdowns last week against LA. There was some home cooking in the second half. We don't worry too much about that. We had a pretty good lead at the end.
Nice.
Tulsa Indy, like I was talking about, really close game, margin of just 3 points, and I really think it had to do a lot with the running game, especially. Tulsa's strength is always the run game. They can get JQ going now and again, but it's always going to be baking on Douglas Brown on things to work like that. And Sioux Falls, sorry, Tyler, they did win. Unfortunately, big touchdown return by AJ Levy really was the difference maker. Pretty much kept going that momentum the whole way through. Louisiana did really good at the start, but the way this game is going, or this season's going, this is anyone's race. We're all 1-1. Big game next week for Minnesota Legend because we're playing Sioux Falls.
Right.
So whoever wins that could end up being top of the division.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: the Central is being pretty competitive. We've known for several seasons now how competitive the South is. The West now, with the emergence of San Diego, Las Vegas playing well, and Arizona, of course. As far as competition goes, it's kind of a double-edged sword. So let me ask it this way: do you think the competitiveness in each of the divisions now will make more teams from each division go to the playoffs, or less? Will we see another South 3 and 4 teams thing, or do you think it's going to be more balanced where there's a couple from each division, except for maybe the Pacific?
I think it's going to be more balanced. We saw last season, especially, that a winning record didn't make playoffs. So the way that goes, I think it's going to be more like that as we continue to progress, because there's going to be a lot of good teams in the Central Division. There's going to be a lot of good teams in the South Division. There's going to be a lot of good teams overall in other divisions as well. And there's only so many spots in playoffs because it didn't, even though we had the expansion, it didn't grow in playoffs. We still got the same number.
Right.
We just added more teams. And a lot of teams that got expanded on are actually playing well. So some teams got to take the flop for that, get lost. Things like that will have to end up happening. I think it's going to end up hurting how competitive division is because there will be 1 or 2 teams that will not make that cut.
Sioux Falls beat Louisiana. Who did Tulsa beat again?
They bet Indiana.
They beat
Indianapolis. Sorry,
Indianapolis.
Yeah,
That's right.
They played each other.
Yeah. Did that surprise you, that game?
So Tulsa and Ramblers do last season especially played each other really close. I wasn't. Tulsa had a rough week 1. They usually do. Once they get their scouts in, they played a little bit better. I actually thought Tulsa was going to win that one, so I'm not too surprised. It was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be because the Ramblers have a new running back, so it's going to be a little adjustment for them because they had All-Star Brad Jones, and now they're gone to Christian Pierce, who might need a little bit more work towards it. So,
dude, and Brad Jones had a game this weekend. Holy smokes!
Oh, he did.
He really did. Did we cover everybody already? Did we cover every team in your division?
Yeah, we did.
Damn, that was quick. All right. Those of you who take longer than 5 minutes, take note to Daniel. The last thing I was gonna mention in the Survivor pool, Daniel, I had Tulsa and I switched it at the last minute to Motor City, and then of course Tulsa won and Motor City lost, so I got screwed. Now I have to rebuy.
Yeah, see, you gotta go with your gut.
I should have known better. You should never change your first pick. You think I would learn that by now? All right, Daniel, thanks for breaking down the Central. Appreciate that. Let's move on to the East now with Tyler. And Tyler, we just talked about how Louisiana kind of took it on the chin. Florida's having a rough start. Atlanta seems reemerged, but is it Jacksonville that's the true surprise of this division so far?
No.
No?
Let's go back to Florida for a second.
Okay.
Who amongst anyone here or in the chat had Florida going 0-2 to start this season?
Is that you?
No,
okay.
not even me. I'm just saying. I'm just looking for any hands out there because they have looked atrocious on offense. Absolutely, I'm dumbfounded. They were down 31 Zippo with about a minute or two to go in the first half to Atlanta, who's been struggling. We talked at the beginning of the season where, they haven't changed much. Is really anything going to change for them? They're 2-0. Jacksonville, look at what OJ Bruin has done for that club, where he's just middled around at Portland and Queen City, not really doing much, sub 500 seasons. They look completely different. Jacksonville looks like a team that maybe he looks like the new age Christian Christensen for Jacksonville. A solid start to the season for both Atlanta and for Jacksonville. Dynasty looks more comfortable. BDG, of course, looks phenomenal as always, but they put that together in Atlanta. They completely destroyed what Atlanta has been known to do, which is stop teams on third down, and can't for the second season a row. They limited Atlanta to less than 50% third down conversions this past weekend, but it didn't matter because they were scoring points with quick succession. It's a problem for Florida. If I'm a Florida fan, I'm scared right now, though I know what to expect out of Florida. I'm not saying that this is where they're going to go or they're going to go to 2-10, but I'm thinking that Florida is going to need a much bigger change than a lot of people realize, because right now it seems like they're still on the back foot, still thawing out from the winter break, and they need to make a couple of drastic changes to their game planning, to their scheming. Otherwise, Florida will look like Louisiana did this past week, throwing 6 interceptions for Tommy Utah.
Listen, before I pass it on to Andrew, I just want to, you don't have to respond to this. I just want to say, Johnny and I had a difference of opinion in the very first show before week 1 about Atlanta this season. And he has some good points, but personally, I think Atlanta's back. Before Andrew asks you a question, I do want to say a couple things in the chat real quick. Bullet Boletsky says the Florida-Atlanta game was obviously week 2 of Art and I conspiring to create chaos in SFL fantasy football and Survivor pool. Thanks a lot, Bullet. Appreciate that. And then we had a couple of people jump in. That's what she said. I can't go a show without saying that. You're late, but you made it here. Better late than never. Good to see you. And Young Vought in the house as well. Andrew, what do you got for Tyler here?
So, yeah, I have to go back to Jacksonville because I guess I'm surprised at the vast turnaround of a single aspect of their game with OJ Bruin coming in. So you're right. It does look very reminiscent of Christian Christensen, especially when he had Duke Wilson and Ken Gossett running downfield for him. However, they only averaged 30-some-odd yards on the ground. Is the high-volume passing game truly sustainable for their success this season, or is the turnover liability going to tear them down as the season goes on?
Well, I think with the development of Sean Sanders later on this season, we might see them switch to more of a balanced attack. But right now, OJ Bruin being the more veteran presence in that locker room on the offensive side of the ball, they look to be in a pretty substantial position to keep doing it for the short term, not for the long term. And if they can complete 75% of their third downs like they did last week versus Portland, they should put themselves up for a tough middle stretch of their regular season, and I think they should find themselves in and around near the wild card playoffs this season.
Interesting. To be honest, I think Jacksonville's look good. And Andrew, I don't know if you agree or disagree with this, but if it's a sell or buy right now, I'm still selling until I see some more, I think. Moving on to the South. Tyler, thank you, bro. Appreciate that. Always a great breakdown. Moving on to the South. Andrew gets the South. And Andrew, this is supposedly the most competitive division in the SFL, at least the last few seasons. But Houston's 0-2, I believe. Alamo City just dismantled Fort Worth. And Mexico City's at 500. Is this going to be one of those weird seasons where the teams that you think are competitive in the South will not be as competitive as they've been in the past?
Well, I think that you had Mexico City as, personally, I feel like this is their division to lose. They are always a solid team. They just ran into the wall that is Baltimore. We saw some things from TJ saying that if they were going to lose a game early in the season, it was going to be this game, and they just didn't. They won that game fairly handedly. You had the Alamo City, Fort Worth, I can't remember the highway. Is it the
I-35? Yeah.
I-35 shootout and Alamo City is still undefeated 8 games. They have played this game 8 times, and it has gone the same way each time. And then as for Houston, they lose yet another heartbreaker. They lose, I think I saw a statistic, it was 7 out of their last 8 losses are 3 points or less. They just can't close out the close games. And that is really unfortunate. They took this one to overtime, but it's just really unfortunate that they just can't seem to close it out. If you look at how the teams are stacking up, you don't have a team with a winning record in the division right now, which is only shared by one other division, the North, which also doesn't have a team with a winning division or winning record right now.
Right.
So, sorry,
No, you're good.
let me get over here. So you have a bunch of teams here in the South that are kind of struggling offensively in order to kind of get off the ground. The top offense is scoring 23 points a game, which is reasonable, but it's still middle of the pack as far as the SFL is concerned. So in order for any of these teams to really start making their stamp on the league and start pushing forward towards a playoff berth, they really need to see some advancement on offense. They need to start scoring some points. Defenses in this division overall look okay, except for Fort Worth's performance this past week. Overall, really we just see lacking offense. So once that kind of evens out, we're going to start seeing some better stuff.
So as I'm looking at the division, and tell me if you see it differently, I say a Houston team that's losing close games. I'm seeing a Fort Worth team that doesn't seem to be up to par like they were the last couple seasons. I see an Alamo City team that looks pretty strong. I see a Mexico City pretty strong. Is this going to be a 2-horse race this season?
I think it could be a 3-horse race this season. It really depends on whether or not Houston or Fort Worth kind of really gets it together. If one of those gets together, they could make a spot for that second slot in the division. But this could end up to be a very close division. These guys will kind of batter against each other throughout the season. And at the end, there will only be one standing. I don't think we're going to have a tie at the top, but it is going to be one that we're going to have to watch throughout the season. I think this is going to be an exciting division.
All right, one more quick follow-up question, 30 seconds. How much of a difference maker is Brad Jones at Alamo City, and are you surprised by that?
No, he was very effective when he was in Houston.
But he wasn't explosive. I didn't feel like he was explosive like he was last week, right?
No, I wouldn't. No, not like last week. Last week he was obviously in charge last week.
Right.
But no, I think he will be key to that offense going forward.
I agree. And I mean, what a great replacement for Ike McBride. So, all right, Andrew, thanks for breaking the South Division down. Appreciate that. Let's move on. We're about at the halfway point with the divisions, and it's time to bring in my main man, Gunny. Gunny, what's up? How you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm good, Dave. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Let me adjust you here a second. By the way, for those of you who don't pay attention to everything I say in my server, Lisa and I were on a week-long trip. We hit a bunch of places. We were able to have dinner with Robo one night. We spent a little over 24 hours with Soto and his wife, and then we were able to have dinner with Gunny. What's today? Tuesday. Was that last night, Gunny, or was that Sunday night?
It was Sunday night.
Yeah, my days are all messed up. So Sunday night, but so it was great, Gunny, getting together with you, seeing you hanging out and stuff. Now that I've stalled, so we can fix your microphone, you good to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go, and I'm going with the shortened version like we spoke about this afternoon.
All right, sounds good.
Good evening, SFL community. Salutes to everyone, and good luck to everyone in Week 3 action. We're just going to go quickly over the players of the games for all 13 games played this past week. Atlanta, halfback BGG Hollywood, 262 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. Carolina, we're going to go with wide receiver Chase Earl, 154 yards receiving, a touchdown. Jacksonville, quarterback O.J. Bruin, 452 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. The D.C. Dragons, Shabazz Synergy, quarterback, 281 yards, 2 touchdowns. Baltimore, we're going to go with Ivory Irvin, 7 receptions, 113 yards, a touchdown, and also a kick return touchdown. San Diego, we're going to go with Scar Patterson, 385 yards, 3 touchdowns. Vancouver, Robert Redford, 181 yards, 3 touchdowns. Minnesota, Johnny Reno, 314 yards, passing, 5 touchdowns. Arizona, Ashley Jackson, 309 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. Canton, wide receiver Kendra Wells, 13 receptions, 142 yards, 1 touchdown. Sioux Falls, we're going to go with Jason Williams, halfback, 110 yards rushing, 52 yards receiving. And for Alamo City, halfback Brad Jones, 238 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. And JQ with Tulsa, 273 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. If you add that all up with the 13 players, that's 6 quarterbacks, 4 halfbacks, 3 wide receivers. Also, from the home and away, 5 home teams won, and 8 away teams won. And we're going to make it short. Tonight's segment of Gunny's Fire Watch was sponsored by Mike All's Bag of Chips. Tonight's chip, Doritos, new flavor, sweet and tangy barbecue. Dave and Pink Lisa, it was a pleasure seeing you in the ATL. Dave, that is all.
Thank you, Gunny. Hey, real quick, would you say the home teams went?
The home teams won 5 games, away teams won 8 games.
This week, and then if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if you know if somebody else can tell me. Was it 12-2 or?
Yes, 12-2 last week.
12-2. Okay. All right, Gunny. Thank you for Gunny's Fire Watch, letting us know everybody that was on fire this week for sure with all their player of the games. Gunny, great job as always. We'll see you next week, buddy. All right, folks. That was Gunny Fire Watch. Ray, way to be on the ball. It's see how it works. It works better when you're here. That you can actually do that, just FYI. Moving on to the Pacific Division. We're going back to Nate here. Let me see how we're doing on time real quick. Hold on. It's 9. Dude, we're only 2 minutes behind. This is freaking amazing. Here's Nate. I don't even know what to say about this division. We talked about it in the first show this week, or this season, that like every single season, it seems to be Vancouver's division to lose. They're 2-0, I think, and everybody else is 0-2, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, do we need to mix the divisions up or something, or what? Because it's almost like, and Andy, don't take this the wrong way. Don't DM me after the show. It's almost like it's just set up for Vancouver. And I'm not saying on purpose. I'm just saying, where's the competition, Nate? For Vancouver every season. It's like they get this nice, easy division. And I'm not ripping on these other teams because they're supposed to be good teams. They're just not winning. I don't know what to make of this.
Yeah, I don't know either, but if there was one of the three other teams that are 0-2 right now who had a chance to win, I think, and no pun to the kicker for Vancouver there. Uh, the from the three games from the three teams that are 0-2, I think it was the LA Lycans because they had a period of the game against Minnesota where they did come back between the second and third quarters where they did make it a game. It was like within 35 to 27 there at one point uh in the second half uh before Minnesota was able to ice it with a field goal late in that one. Uh, and LA just couldn't put it together at the end of that game. Um, so LA is showing signs that they can score points, but they just can't put everything together and put together a win so far this season. Portland, uh, they're they showed signs of being able to pass the ball in this game, along with going along with their running game of Ezekiel Love. Because I covered their Week 1 game in the broadcast booth, and if you remember, one of the points I made in that broadcast during Week 1 was if they would be able to uh, pass the ball efficiently and find a receiver to throw the ball to replace that wide receiver in Gene Valentine since Gene Valentine moved on.
Mhm.
And it looked like Israel Adams is going to be that go-to receiver so far for Portland. Uh, Coming up so far in the first couple games this season, has had has shown signs of doing well so far this season. Uh, as well as sorry, got distracted. As well as
That's why you're not on camera.
right. Um, but no, as well as Love being able to run it, but they were able to put those two things together. But when your defense allows the opponent to just throw the ball all over the place against you,
Right.
uh, the way Jacksonville did, they were Portland's defense was selling out on a blitz all game trying to get to OJ Bruin, and I think the commentators for that game, Hacker and EJ Vincent nailed it right at the end of that broadcast where they were saying how it looks like it might have been something personal on OJ Bruin because it looked like they were selling out on the blitz trying to get him for the sack all game long, and it was just allowing OJ Bruin to find receivers on the one-on-one coverages all game for those receivers, and those receivers were just feasting on those one-on-one coverages all game long, and was having a heyday against that Portland defense. So that's how the Jacksonville offense racked up all those yards. But yeah, going back to Vancouver, they're just Vancouver being Vancouver, putting the passing game together as well as Redford, as Gunny stated in his notes. Redford had a game in that one, rushing the ball against Seattle. Uh, Ran for a couple of touchdowns, I believe, in that one as well. As Brown threw a touchdown pass, I believe, to Curtis, and Seattle just couldn't get anything going to muster up anything much of a fight against Vancouver in that one. So, um, and last season it was when these two teams matched up, it was a lower scoring, closer affair between these two teams. But this time around, Vancouver had the right game plan going up against Seattle, and this one wasn't even close.
Before I have Andrew ask you a question, I gotta, I gotta say something about a couple things in the chat real quick. First of all, Jeremy, Jeremy put in there, Dave, just say they suck. No, wait, that's a COC violation. It's not that they suck, bro. Here's the thing. I think expectations were high for these other three teams. A lot of people were high on Portland. Seattle had a great offseason. It's not that they suck. It's just that they just don't win games. And I don't know if there's something to it or not, but it just seems like every single year Vancouver takes care of business. I don't know what Kendra's saying. Leave it to me to violate the COC probably. I guess I'm the violator now. Jack Wall, that's not what I meant by 2 minutes. Hey-o. And then let me see here. I saw something else. I don't remember what it was. All right. Oh, the Amish. Apparently, I'm in the Amish Mafia now. Great. I love you guys. Just do this shit to give Bullet more material. I think. Andrew, what do you got for Nate?
So obviously, yes, this is Vancouver's division to win every season since it was created. The other teams, it's not that everyone has the same shot every year. So what is holding back a team like Los Angeles, where their passing game is just about as good as Jacksonville's has been, but they can't get into the end zone, and that's what's creating the difference. A lack of scoring and a little bit of a lack of defense. So where do we start seeing the change where one of these teams breaks out of this hole and starts playing catch up in order to reach Vancouver before the end of the season?
Well, going back to where you were mentioning Los Angeles, I think they had the right game plan. I think against Minnesota, they just had too little, too late against Minnesota as far as being able to come back in that game, and they made a couple of mistakes towards the end of that game and not being able to score deep opponent's territory. So I think being able to find their tight ends more in the middle of the field, maybe get Jack Flash more involved in the throwing game, and might net them more yards down there as far as getting them closer to what their goal is and getting more points late in ball games, and less mistakes and less turnovers towards the end of ball games. Portland, I think they need to have a more balanced defense because, like I stated, against Jacksonville, they were all about blitzing OJ Bruin and leaving their safeties and corners on islands in one-on-one defense. And I think if they go back to the kind of defense that they had when Bob Funk was there, to playing that zone and maybe doubling up a couple of their opponent's top receivers and having that help over the top, then we might see Portland be able to cover some ground in that division and maybe make a run at second place in that division.
All right. We're running a little over time, Nate, so I'm going to have to cut you off, bro. For those of you who weren't here at the beginning, too, just so if you're wondering why Nate only has a picture and sounds like he's, death warmed over right now, he's sick, but he was a trooper tonight and came on the show anyway. So, Nate, thank you for that. Thanks for breaking down the division. Are you going to stick around for pick'ems, right?
Yes, sir. I'll be here.
All right. Sounds good. And then real quick in the chat, I saw somebody else I wanted to say something to. They got a new OC over there. Oh, James Walters, 87. He says, hey, now all the other Pacific teams are winning off the field right now. So I guess that's just as important, I guess. I don't know. Moving on to the Atlantic, Daniel. I mean, Baltimore, DC, and then the rivalry between Carolina and Charleston, which was entertaining last night. Again, Baltimore, the cream of the crop. Are the other teams closing the gap, or is this all Baltimore's to lose, just like Vancouver in the Pacific?
I think this is Baltimore's world, and we're all just living in it at this point. Just a little breakdown on point 4. They have 72 points in 2 weeks. The second closest in that division has 50. So they're averaging. They have 22 more points than the next lead in this division for point 4. So I mean, Baltimore scoring at will against teams.
Right.
They say it against Mexico City. Mexico City is a great team. They always have been. They got great coaching staff over there. And it seems like Baltimore's just having their way. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. I believe against Mexico City, they had 88 yards, 27 carries with Warren Murray, when they only threw the ball 23 times. And the week one, they threw a lot more than they ran against. I believe it was Alamo City. So they know how to win. They have the formula. It's up to people now to try and figure out the way to beat them. It's just really difficult. DC won in overtime, but I honestly look at the stats on this and I'm still wondering how it got to overtime. Sebastian G only threw one incompletion, just one.
Yeah, yeah.
26 for 27, and Dave Burr on the Houston Headhunters threw 5 interceptions that game, including the one in overtime that still needed a 3rd and 16 to get in field goal range, but pretty much was the nail in the coffin. And yet they still only won by 3 points in overtime. It mind boggles that their offense can't get it going enough to score. It feels like they just sputter out of control as they get to like the 50, and then they don't know what to do from there.
Right.
Kevin Say is having a bit of a rough go, 81 yards in that game. Sebastian G really was what led them to winning, but it just feels to me that they should be winning by more points, just from what the stats say alone. Carolina Charleston, I was a little disappointed because I thought this would be a better game. Charleston proved something to me just last week when they played their offensive game. They showed themselves playing really well. They weren't. Kentez wasn't awful. He had to throw 42 times though. You really want to help with the running backs, and I knew they'd have a new system with Sharon Storm in there and all that, but they got to figure out the run game a bit, even though it'll take time to grow because they're still so new at it. Carolina, they surprised me in the game themselves because they threw the ball a lot more than I thought they were going to do. I expected them to run ball. They only ran 16 times with Ike McBride, which you would think with the caliber Ike is, she's really good at run ball. She was a mainstay in Lone Star. But they only ran it 16 times, and Hanzo only ran 9 times. But Mass South, credit where credit's due, had more interceptions than touchdowns, but he still had 347 yards. So this one felt a little tough. I don't know how good Charleston really is. They played really good week one, and they kind of fell back down to earth. I still think this is Baltimore's division by far.
I agree with that. It's definitely Baltimore's division by far. They're 2-0. Everybody else is 1-1, and we already saw at least the 10-point difference between Charleston and Carolina. Going back to Ike for a second, too. You said she only had 16 carries, but that's up 6 carries from the week before where she only had 10. So do you think they're just kind of trying to ease her into the offense right now? I don't know what the offense situation is over there. I don't know if they have a new coordinator. I don't know if they have a new offense. I'm not sure, but I'm wondering, or maybe it's just because you can only change so many plays week to week, and so they got to move it up. What do you think about that?
It might be the fact that everybody expects Carolina to run, so they're trying to change up at the start of the first 2 weeks. Because we saw last week they did a lot of things. Last season they did a lot of things with Tori Hanzo and Suda Nakai, trying to run the two with the run back and fullback route. Tori Hanzo, as far as I know, is still offensive coordinator there, so he should be still manhandling the offense. But I think they're just trying to switch things up, and it's working for them, right? They had a really good win this week with Charleston. Maybe they get back to the run game, switch a few more plays in then. But Ike McBride's a great talent. She should be able to transition well in that form. And if they go back to a running formula, I think she'll just prosper there too.
I can't wait to start seeing these teams beat up on each other and see who comes out. We've seen one game so far, but I mean, I can't wait for the Carolina and Charleston playing DC games and such to see who's really going to try to compete with Baltimore in that division. All right. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate it, buddy. There's the Atlantic folks. Moving on to our last division of the evening before we get to our Diva of the Week winner for week 1, our Diva of the Week nominees for week 2, and then we've got our special guest to kick off the very first ever Owner's Box on Access Live. But before we do that, North. I'm sorry. I said East, whatever. North, South, East, West, Central, whatever. It's all the same. 220, 221, Tyler. I'm a little surprised by Canton. Like I said, I predicted Motor City in the Survivor pool. London was on a bye this week, so not really much to talk about. You know, one game against San Diego in week 1, you can't really judge off of that. To me, Tyler, before you break this down, though, I kind of expected more from Queen City with bringing all the big guns in over there with James Klein and Bovine, and Tom Welsh was already over there. Is it just a thing of where now you've got the personnel, or you've at least got the coaching and stuff, but you're just going to need some time to build it up? What do you think about that?
You got a whole bunch of great coaches. You got a rookie quarterback, and you've got a team that has gone through a season of turmoil in terms of players in, management in. This is the team that, if there was to be a rebuilding year or rebuilding, if we're to put something on it, Queen City is in a rebuilding year. They are going to have to build this from the ground up. They have to take the core itself of their foundation was just weathered, not rotten, but just weathered and beaten down, kind of like the stadium in Hawaii that had to be cordoned off and where we had to be decommissioned. It was time for change. It was time for something to happen. But Queen City's, it's going to be a tough year. They are not making the playoffs this season. I think they know that. I think the rest of the league knows that, and it shows. It shows how they played versus San Diego. Just not ready. Just not fully to competition standard. And unfortunately for them, it's going to take some time for them to maybe make a charge, and maybe 2 seasons. Maybe 2 seasons is when we maybe see Queen City do something. But I'm not going to say there's too many cooks in the kitchen, because we all know how good each and every one of those gentlemen are when they can put their heads together. Maybe there's a little bit of differencing in opinions and philosophies, but that should be ironed out with those people. But again, it'll take time. And quickly on to the other 2 teams that played. We won't touch on London, and because this division just looks weird without London being at the top, and of course taking one of the chin to begin week 1. It's like Cam prepared for them to lose and give them an extra week to lick their wounds and come out week 3 versus Las Vegas and maybe get back on the right track. Who knows? We'll see here in week 3. But in my opinion, the world righted itself when Motor City coasted in off their laurels after having a very surprising victory to, show their true colors. Canton finally woke up after a week 1 where it was awkward, to say the least, for the Canton Classics. But they lost the turnover border battle, Canton did, but they ended up winning, and it's due to them having consistent drives. They definitely won the time possession battle, which is key, and they won third downs as well. Or lost third downs, I should say. Motor City was converting on third downs, just couldn't finish drives. But with Canton's performance, maybe they start coming back to where they should be, and Motor City back to where I think everybody expected them to be. Their tricks are found out. I'll be a firm believer and continue to believe the move for Guy Clausen to move to wide receiver was 100% a mistake. And I'm okay with them saying that he's comfortable with it. I'm okay with Guy saying that he's comfortable with moving to wide receiver. I just think he was too good of a tight end to be moved to wide receiver.
Interesting there. Before I have Andrew ask you a question real quick, a couple things in the chat I want to get to. I don't know what Kendra, what are you talking about? Of course we're friends, but I said a good thing. I'm surprised by you guys, as in, I didn't pick you to beat Motor City and you won. So that's kind of a positive thing. And then Jack Wall, dummy Axis, can't even pick a game, right? Yeah, I don't know, 2 games in. And Greg One Gaming, want to shout out his first time chat in the Axis Live show. Rastelli, what do you got for Tyler here real quick?
Overall, this division looks like it's something that's just kind of treading water. So you have a bunch of teams that kind of have lacking offense. However, defense is not so bad. You have Canton and Motor City, who are averaging only giving up 20 points a game, which is a way to win games in the SFL. Do either of those teams have a defense that will truly carry them through the remainder of the season and will help them win this division and secure a playoff spot? Because this looks like one of those divisions where it's possible only one of these teams makes it out.
you bring up a valid point there, Rastelli, and of course, Canton and Motor City did combine for 7 total turnovers last week. So if there's a team that desperately needs their defense to carry them, it will have to be Motor City because we know how high flying that Canton can be. But if we're just leaving London out of the picture entirely, of course, we've only seen one game from London as they had one of the earliest buys in SFL or in general any league's history. A week 2 bye, not something you typically see anywhere, but we'll learn more here in weeks 3 and 4. I like to give, especially in the SFL when there's only 12 games, I like to give teams 3 or 4 games to see where we're at and give an official opinion. Though I've already given a couple official opinions, but that's what I do for a quote unquote living that I'm not getting paid for.
Yeah.
And just you're supposed to sit here and give 2 and 10 predictions in
Right.
a fancy hat or nothing,
Right.
and sometimes in a suit, and sometimes do sideline reporting and broadcasting. I mean, the list goes on and on. My voice could keep going. I could keep talking
Hey,
like
did you hear
this.
that?
And maybe
Cam
I should
sounds
open
like
my own show.
somebody needs a paycheck, bro. Just saying. Just saying.
Tyler,
Tyler, thank
that's
you,
it.
bro.
Yeah, that's it
Yeah,
for
no, I
me.
appreciate it. With Dave, look at Iowa. Zach, hold over. I'll pay you late. I'll pay you, Tyler, with Dave's money. Get the fuck out of here. All right. All right. Thanks for breaking down the North, bro. Appreciate it. All right,
Thanks,
folks.
Dave.
We're gonna move on to Diva of the Week. I want to make sure I don't give it away. I don't even remember all of the. Oops, my bad. I don't remember all of the nominees last week. To be honest with you, did I write them down? Probably didn't. So I guess what? It doesn't matter. We're just gonna tell you the winner. How about that? The winner of the week 1 Diva of the Week, and I don't know if this is the first time it's ever happened, but we finally had a generic win Diva of the Week with 41% of the vote. We had about 60 votes or so, which I don't know why we only had 60 votes there, people. SFL Nation, what the hell's wrong with you? But 41%, Sam Lockhart for, I don't even know if he did anything that important. I don't even think it was a big deal. I don't even remember it personally. So I'm sure it had something to do with knocking somebody out of a game or something. I don't know. Whatevs, SFL Nation. So there you go. What's this say? Casper has to get nominated for knocking Dave out this week. What's up? Listen, if I get knocked out next week, I'm calling conspiracy and I'm calling Cam. That's it. I'm just saying. So anyway, congratulations, Sam Lockhart. Pretty sure you're not listening, but congrats to people on London. Your generic teammate got Diva of the Week. There you go. All right, let's move on to our Diva of the Week nominees for week 2. Nate, starting with you in about like 10 or 15 seconds, just announce who it is and I'll play the clip.
My Diva of the Week for this week is Derek Meerkat for this outstanding, spectacular leaping grab.
Jack, 8 carries on the game so far, just barely averaging 2 yards a pop on each carry. Big third down here. Richardson going for it all, and it's picked off. An amazing one-handed interception, taking the ball away. And we may have an injured player, but that is a huge turnover there. That's Derek Meerkat.
Meerkat coming up with a beautiful play, just like you said. Look at this, kind of doing a little Odell Beckham there, right? That was fantastic. That pass was ill-advised, I guess. Just a lot of,
right.
2 or 3 defenders right there in
Is
the area.
it replaying again? Oh, there you go. Shit, I was like, that was a longer clip than I thought it was. In the chat real quick, who was it? Oh, Bo Martin Jr. saying Sam Lockhart wanted for murder. And that's what she said. They have to do something to slow down that San Diego offense. Well, they definitely did. Moving on to Diva of the Week. Nominee number 2 for week number 2. Daniel, who you got?
Well, speaking of one-handed grabs, this diva in the past went to get a touchdown and then went to have a drink, relax for a bit. Of course, I'm going to say Dave Axis will be Diva of the Week for this one.
Beautiful. That's the greatest pick I've ever heard.
Last week they had 117 rushing yards. That's something you don't see every day out of the Mavericks offense. 2nd and 8. Deep throw down the sideline. That is caught, and he is gone. That is a touchdown for the Diva himself, Dave Axis.
What a one-handed catch by Axis. He was just striding down the sideline on that fly route, stuck his right hand in the air and caught that ball, and all he saw was green in front of him. 6 points on the board for the first drive for the Mavericks.
And I can see already right now somebody's going to nominate him for Diva of the Week just because of the fact he was able to get that one-handed grab when he really probably didn't even need to get that one-handed grab. But nevertheless, it was a great catch by him. Great run, touchdown San Diego.
Absolutely. Dave Access had 2-3 steps on Greg Gaines there. Just a great route ran by him and a fantastic pass by Patterson.
You actually hear Chad Rowland in that clip say somebody's going to nominate him for Diva of the Week. That's awesome. Daniel, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Moving on to our third Diva of the Week nominee for week number 2. Tyler, who you got?
Well, a certain someone was on the call for this game, and it had to be in Mexico City, the first home game without Matt Wilson. The tension and the feelings were high, and Mexico City, everyone was feeling for him, and then Ivory Irvin does this to open the ball game. As Blackwater tees it up,
Shame on
and
him.
here we go from Estadio Matt Wilson. Ivory Irvin on the return from near his own 10-yard line, angles left side. Here goes Ivory Irvin to start things up here. It's going to be a kick return to begin the ball game. Ivory Irvin puts Baltimore on the board first.
Hey, who was on the call on that one, by the way? Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me right now? Wait a minute. Are you serious?
I hit the wrong button.
Are you serious right now,
Wrong
bro?
lever.
You're muted, bro. Man, we can't get through a single show. Look at Holdorf in the chat.
We were so close.
Oh, we're on the back 9, Daniel. What the hell? Way to go, Tyler. So, Tyler, I was trying to ask you who was on that call, but
well, obviously not me.
I guess you didn't want to talk about it.
Brett carried the entire call. Him and his hoedown talk.
You didn't want to talk about it. I get it. It's okay. All right, moving on to Diva of the Week, nominee number 4 for week number 2. Andrew Rostelli, who you got?
I mean, my Diva of the Week nominee didn't really have a singular play. It's the fact that he almost threw a perfect game. Shabazz Synergy going 26 for 27 in the game against Houston, even in a game that carried over into a 5th quarter.
I expect both of these teams will be in the playoff race, but DC's now got the head-to-head against a team they won't see again.
That's true. And at the end of the season, it's always so crazy anyway with all the tiebreakers, and you never know what's going to happen in this league.
As you well know, and here's something you don't expect. One incompletion from a quarterback in a game. Shabazz Synergy, standout.
All right, so Shabazz, did anybody see the game or did remember, maybe Rostelli, maybe you do, what the one incompletion was? Was it his fault? Was it a drop pass?
I actually didn't go to look. Now that you said that, that makes a lot of sense. I should have looked for the one.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I wonder what it was. If anybody in the chat knows, let us know. What was the one Shabazz incomplete pass? All right, there's 4 out of 5. The final, the 5th nominee for Diva of the Week, week 2, is my nomination of somebody who didn't get just 1 touchdown. He didn't get just 2 touchdowns. I think he didn't even get 3. He might have had 4. I don't know. I lost track. I can't even count that high, apparently. But more importantly, after his first touchdown, after a second touchdown, little shimmy shake. And then after the third touchdown, jump up and throw the ball through your legs. I get like one of those a season, and this player got 3 in a game. Brad Jones, what's up?
Right for 2nd and 3. I formation with Ace under center. Handing it off to Brad Jones. He'll go right side. He's got room at the 25 to the 20. He goes up to the 10, shakes the tackle, and into the end zone. Touchdown, Alamo City.
And that caps off a fantastic drive to start from Alamo City. Getting their crowd into it
would be absolutely vital. Hand off here for Jones. He'll get to the left side. Oh, he's got room to run, and there he goes! This could happen in one play. Go to the 40, to the 30. It's going to be 94 yards. Touchdown, Alamo City! Dunhill.
All right, so there's your 5 Diva of the Week nominees. We got Meerkat, Axis, Shabazz, Ivory Irvin, and Brad Jones. So sometime later tonight or tomorrow, Holdorf will put the Google sheet voting, the Google voting sheet, easy for you to say, in the Access Live server, so you guys can so you can vote on your Diva of the Week nominees for week number 2. Thank you guys, everybody, for putting those in. Appreciate it. Let's move on now to what should have been, or was supposed to be, our second installment of the Owner's Box, but we are now only doing our first one. So it gives me great pleasure to announce that for the very first Owner's Box on Access Live, we'll be bringing in Ramos Lin, the owner of the Mexico City Aztecs. Ramos, what's up, bro? How you been? It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, man. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, bro. I'm doing great. I'm appreciative of you taking the time to come on here. I love getting these old school owners on first to kind of start laying a foundation of the SFL and the teams back then, and what you had to go through and what you accomplished. If you don't mind, maybe for the first minute here or so, give us just a brief background on how you found the SFL. Were you a player first? How you became an owner? What season you became an owner? That kind of thing.
It was almost 9 years ago. I was playing in the CAG League, standing for Casual Adult Gamers, with TJ and with Eddie and Mighty and so many others. And essentially, TJ was like, "Hey, I found this league, and I want you guys to be basically players for the team, so you can choose your player name and a couple of different positions. And depending on how things fall, you will get one of those positions." So I pitched in to be either a quarterback or a free safety, and I got the free safety gig. So that's how I started with the league back in mid 2014. That was season 3.
Season 3, okay.
And yeah, season 3. And so it was really cool. At the beginning, I didn't really know what was going on, and T-Pad and Vertigo back in the day were the coaches, defensive and offensive coordinators respectively, and just got immediately hooked because that was a pretty great game, still an SFL classic till this day. The season 3 opener between the Baltimore Crabs and the New York Knights, now the Queen City Corsairs.
Mm-hmm.
And basically that was it. Then for the following season, T-Pad got his team. I became the defensive coordinator for the Crabs. And the following season, I got the ownership, season 5, for the old Santa Fe Gorillas. We rebranded to the Mexico City Aztecs by season 8. So season 5 is when I became an owner back in 2015. And we rebranded by, middle portion of 2017, early 2017, actually.
And so what season did you win the championship?
Season 9.
Season 9. So you're second as the Mexico City Aztecs?
Yeah, the second season as the Aztecs, correct.
Okay, so at that time, did you have Matt Wilson? Did you have any of the Dags family? When did they kind of come along in this Mexico City story?
So Matt Wilson came in season 6. So that was the very following season. We were still the Santa Fe Gorillas. And he was our only, user player.
Mm-hmm.
And then for season 7, we got a bunch of guys. But actually, Mike and Jeffrey, they came along a little bit afterwards by season, I think it was season 10 or season 11? I think it was season 11. So it was a little bit later. Of the notable guys that you will know for season 9 was Matt Wilson, of course. It was Cale Barrett. It was Cole Varner, for example. It was Jack Brown, Richard Montague, amongst others.
So season 9, you won the championship. Have you been to any other championships that you lost, or was that the only one?
Season 5, our very first season, we played the DC Dragons and we lost on the last minute, 31-30.
Oh, I've seen clips of that actually.
Yeah. That first season we made it to the championship game. We lost. Season 9 we made it and we beat Chicago, and we haven't made it since.
No, but you know what though? I'll tell you, you may not have made it since, but with more teams and more players and more competition, you guys are always in that upper echelon of SFL teams. So my next question to you, and if any of the panelists or Restell, if anybody has a question you guys want to do, feel free to jump in at any time. But my question to you, Ramos, is it just the fact that you've been around so long and you have so much experience with the game and you know the game inside and out? And a lot of people say this is a coaching league and you're a coach. Is that why Mexico City is so successful season after season after season? Regardless of winning the championship, you're always in that top 4 or 5 teams. You're always making it to the quarterfinals, semifinals. What's the secret to your success?
Well, I'm sure that kind of helps, but I like to give credit to my players. It helps when you have the best quarterback of all time, perhaps the best player this league has ever seen in Matt Wilson for so long. When you have guys such as Mike Daggs and Jeffrey Daggs and Cale Barry for all those years, and when you have Jack Brown for a minute, and when you have Ray Bentley, and when you have Phoenix Jones, that makes your job a lot easier as a coach. So yeah, I mean that's really the reason why. Honestly, those guys putting their progressions every week, the leadership that everybody has in the locker room. I think that's the main reason why we can have some level of success every year.
Art Vandalay in the chat says it's because you nonstop sim all the time. Is that right?
Yeah, it used to be, right?
It used to be.
It used to be, right?
The number one thing I wanted to ask you while I had you here tonight, and for the people listening, people will be listening later on VOD. You've been here for whatever it's been, 15 seasons, whatever. What's the biggest change you've seen, other than the amount of people coming here, in the SFL? And do you think the changes have been mostly positive? Do you like the direction the league is going? And as you look back from how things started to now, could you have ever thought that it would have been like this?
No. To answer your last question, no. I'm gonna tell you a funny thing here in just a minute, but the most impressive thing, other than the amount of people, is just the competition level of the league and how competitive and how many good teams we've got is just unbelievable. When I came in back in season 3, there were good coaches and good teams and everything, but it's nothing like now. Now there's teams that spend literally dozens of hours combined, because like you have offensive coordinators, you have defensive coordinators, you have scouts, you have head coaches individually, right? So one person just concentrates on offense, one concentrates on defense, and having that allows people to just cumulative, in everything, in essence, just spend so many hours, so much time practicing and perfecting their craft. And I think that's the most that's the biggest thing to me. And to answer your last question, no, I mean, not at all. When I joined the league, I remember we had games on Saturdays and Sundays for the most part, also with a Monday night thrown in there. And I remember watching games on Saturday morning. That was, if I remember correctly, the only game on Saturday, and it was at noon Central Time. And it will literally just be me and the owners of the other two teams watching. It will literally be like 3 or 4 people watching on Twitch. And to now see the league go into the front page of Twitch and go to TV and have hundreds of people watching the draft. I mean, let alone the freaking games. We have 200 some people watching the draft.
Yeah.
Back when we didn't have a draft. It's just insane to me. I mean, the amount of people from every part of the world, not only Americans, but from Canada, from Mexico, from Argentina, heck, you have Kenton, who has fans from Denmark. You have people from Australia, from Hong Kong, from everybody and everywhere. So it's just unbelievable, honestly.
What's the funny story you wanted to tell us?
Well, it was that essentially on Saturdays.
Oh, okay, yeah, but only the 3 of you watching.
Bro, I mean, seriously, that's not hyperbole. Like, I wish that was hyperbole. It was just, let's say the Oklahoma City Renegades and the New York Knights were playing back in the day. It was going to be, it was Michael Irvine. It was Eric Barkley. It was probably Daily Holder and me. That's it. That was it. Probably Kyle Walsh right there in the background. 5 people. I mean, seriously.
I got to tell you, Ramos. I mean, for me personally, I never even heard of sim sports until when did I get here? I got here, I think it was October of 19, at the end of season 13. I think you guys were in the last couple weeks, maybe even the first round of the playoffs. And I caught it on DirecTV, and it was Atlanta, and I forget who Atlanta was playing. Tulsa, I think, maybe, or maybe they were Oklahoma City still. I can't remember. Bottom line was, I saw the Atlanta thing. I was like, oh, this is cool. And I didn't even know what sim sports was. Now I'm in a sim hockey league. I'm in a sim soccer league. I'm in a, there's college football sim league. It's the sim world has completely exploded. And I kind of feel like a lot of it has to do with the SFL. Do you agree with that?
I would agree with that. Obviously not everything, but at the same time, it has grown into be just much bigger than just making it up, so to speak. Taking an old game like All Pro and making it the way it is right now for us.
Right.
But right now, you even have games such as F1 Manager, which is kind of a sim in a sense. For example, for Formula One, where you basically are the just like how you're the coach, you're the manager of your squad, of your cars, and you can control whether a driver goes into the box or hey, let the other guy go, and just control the race from a manager standpoint, so to speak. And well, it's in Formula One, it's called principal. And so I think that, I'm not gonna say, oh, the SFL just created everything, but at the same time, I think it's been an inspiration for a lot of people. And it's so cool to see. I mean, you have the hockey league, you have basketball leagues, you have baseball leagues, you have Formula One
It's
leagues, you have football
insane
leagues, you
now.
have soccer league.
It's like there's not even enough time to do all the sports I want to do.
Exactly.
It's absolute insanity. Go
and
ahead.
and there's people who are in all those leagues. I don't know how. I mean, the SFL consumes like a lot of my time, for example, and then you have guys who are the owner of certain basketball team and the head coach of certain baseball team and the scout of certain other football team in other league, and it's pretty crazy.
It is crazy. I'm going to give you one last question, and then at the end of that, too, you can, if you had anything you want to say, feel free to say it. The direction the SFL is going now with the new game, I know you were involved in that a lot with the research part of it. Outside of that particular game, is there anything else, any other changes you would like to see in the future with the SFL?
Well, it's going to depend on how the other game performs and what it takes us or where it takes us. I think it's a situation where it's wait and see. I think the future is bright. As you said, I was heavily involved with the 4K23 project alongside O'Neill and alongside Trillo and Cam, of course. And I think it's just we have the idea set up and everything, and it's just going to be whenever we see it in action, then we are going to take steps further. But I think the league just has to continue with its flow of promoting the league, the branding, the exposure that we are having, more people coming in. And I think the 4K23 idea and the project is a good one because we've seen it gameplay wise. It just plays better in many aspects of All Pro. Yes, it doesn't look prettier in certain things with the graphics, for example, because of course PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 graphics are going to be better than PlayStation 2. I get it, but at the same time, whenever you see your branding in it, whenever you see more smart play, whenever you see players run out of bounds to stop the clock instead of going to stupid no huddles, whenever you see many quarterbacks scrambling instead of throwing the ball into quadruple coverage, whenever you see that, I think the league is gonna get more recognition as being a more sim kind of league and a better watch, right? And I'm not saying it's not a good watch now, because this is phenomenal what we're doing with All Pro and what we've been doing for 20 seasons now.
Right.
I mean, it's just incredible. But to see coaches' strategies be performed even better, according to plan, because of instead of throwing the ball into quadruple coverage and getting intercepted 6 times in a game, okay, my guy actually ran the ball. The quarterback ran the ball for 4 yards, slid, and it's 2nd and 6 instead of throwing a stupid interception. So I think it's gonna just be so good for coaches, so good for players, and just so good for the league.
That's awesome. I'm actually kind of excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. I love the fact that you can do the branding and the sponsors and actually put your logo on the helmets instead of having to put the APF logo. And there's a lot of the aesthetics that I just love. So appreciate your
The
work on
opportunities
that.
are
What's that?
just last thing. The opportunities are unlimited. You know, you can even, and this is just something I'm kind of into and everything, just the visual side of it. You know, championship games, having your custom feel for the championship, having, creating a championship logo, for example, and put it in the midfield and each end zone with one, because for so long we've had basically the home team of, the team that had a better record be the home team, and it's just basically playing a game in their stadium. And now it's really going to feel like, we're playing in a neutral side, and it's going to be just it's just going to add to the overall immersion of everything, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Putting everything on your stadium, your retired numbers, all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's another cool thing. Retired numbers. That's awesome. All right, Ramos, thanks so much for being on here, being my very first owner on the owner's box on Access Live. I really appreciate it. You did, phenomenal job, and we love hearing the history of all the stuff that went on before, most of us got here. So we appreciate you coming on and educating all of us tonight.
No, thank you, man. Just before I go, good game from Baltimore this past season. Great job by Tyler Falk on the call. It's a great team, Baltimore, and I thought we played bravely, but they're just too good.
All right, Ramos, thank you again. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you.
You got it. All right, everybody, that was Ramos Lynn, the owner of the Mexico City Aztecs, who's been here a minute. Hopefully you were able to hear all of what he had to say. If not, you can go back and watch it on the VOD. A lot of history he talked about back in the day, and all the way back to only 3 people watching a sim, the 2 owners and the person running the sim. That was pretty much it. So we appreciate him being on. We're going to whip through these predictions pretty quick. We're running a little behind, but it's okay. It's been a good show. It's flowed well, so I don't mind being a few minutes late. We're going to whip through the predictions pretty quick, but before we do, I need to give up some results. I mentioned last week that in week 1, Frank went 7-7, Mike O'Neill, Tyler and Johnny all went 8-6. Last week, Axel went 7-6. Soto and Chad did really well at 9-4, but nobody is holding a candle right now to Josh Farnsey, who went 11-2 last week. By the way, I felt like I mentioned this on the first show. I might have forgot last show. The predictor with the best winning percentage will get some Access swag at the end of the season, because not everybody can guess the same amount of games depending on how many shows you're on. So, Tyler, what are you doing, bro? Oh, hold on. He wants to mute himself. Oh, you just muted yourself. Did you just do it again? Unfucking believe. You know what? Actually, what sucks about this is then I have to scroll and look for the "you're muted, bro" thing. Hold on. Are you guest 3? I think you are. All right. There you go again, Tyler. Unbelievable, bro. And then, of course, look at Holdorf is on top of shit in the chat. So, what were you gonna say?
Well, I'm looking at. I was gonna be all an Excel expert over here and be like, Dave, do you think I have multiple personalities or something, or maybe it's because I'm all ranty today and all for muting myself doubly over. You've got me twice here on this pick'em.
Because you're on the show twice.
Well, you just unblock.
These are week. Oh yeah, and you know what?
Box.
Well, hold on. First of all, this is week 1. These guys are week 2. And actually, when I cropped this, I accidentally cut Rastelli off, so it's on the sheet. I just cropped it wrong. And Daniel named Tyler, and it'll be over here in week 3. Tyler, you see how that goes? See, it's kind of like steps.
But when you try and calculate everything, you'll be jumping. Like, if we're just going to continue going down this list, we'll have like a million names on here.
I think I liked you better when you were muted. Okay.
Oh.
All right, folks, we're going to whip through these predictions really quick. I don't even have an order of the games. Oh, wait. Yes, I do, because Axel Raven is always on the ball and got me the week 3 games for the predictions and the pick'ems for us to do. So I will start with Nate if he's still awake. We haven't heard from Nate in a while.
Sir.
Are you still around?
Yes, sir.
Bro?
I'm right here.
All right. Arizona at Queen City. Just give me the names. Don't give me any breakdowns, you guys. Just let's whip through these really quick.
All right. Arizona.
Daniel.
Arizona.
Tyler.
Zona.
Andrew.
Zona.
Okay. Game number 2 on that was your Friday night 8 p.m. kickoff, by the way. 8:15 kickoff. Louisiana at Jacksonville. Nate.
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. Daniel.
I'm also going Jacksonville.
Okay. Tyler.
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. Andrew.
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. BJ Loveless says the buys are wrong.
It's just last week's buys.
Okay, but does that mean they're not in the games? Are we doing the wrong games?
So far, it's the right games.
Okay, because can you confirm that, Daniel, as we go?
Yeah, because Las Vegas and London are the first game on Saturday.
I got the SFL website up on
Okay.
the games right here.
Perfect. All right, perfect. All right. What's somebody else? Carolina, Fort Worth on bye, but the games are right. Okay. All right, Saturday, 1 p.m. kickoff, Vegas at London. Nate.
Swear to God, Johnny, you lose this for me, I'm going to come after you, London.
London. Daniel.
I also got London.
Tyler.
All right, first curveball, Vegas.
There you go. Andrew.
Vegas.
Vegas. Ooh, that one was split. I thought we were going to go 3 sweeps in a row. 1:15 kickoff on Saturday. Seattle at Indy. Nate.
Ramblers.
Daniel.
I hate to pick it, but Ramblers.
I hate to pick it, but Tyler. That just must make your heart hurt when you have to say that.
Just a little bit.
Ramblers.
Okay. Is it a sweep, Andrew?
Yeah, Ramblers.
All right. That's 3 out of 4 sweeps already. You guys might have the easiest week so far, maybe. We'll see. Or you're all going to be like 2-10. Hey, yo. All right. 6:30 Saturday night, Canton at Denver. Nate.
I know she's watching, but I don't care. Denver.
I don't care. Well, she called you Amish earlier anyway, so there you go. Let me see who we got. Daniel.
I have Denver.
Tyler.
Canton.
Andrew.
Canton.
People getting on the Canton hype train a little bit. 6:45 p.m. on Saturday, your San Diego Mavericks at Motor City.
You already know. San Diego, baby.
What's up, Daniel?
What one do we have? San Diego. Oh, San Diego.
Obviously. San Diego at Motor City. Sorry. Tyler?
Where's the new batch of A10s, San Diego?
San Diego. There you go. And Andrew?
Maverick.
There you go. That's what I love to hear. When's the last time that San Diego got a sweep on the Pick'ems, I wonder? Baltimore at DC, 9 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. Nate?
Going DC on this one.
Interesting. Okay. I think, just real quick, and I think you all would agree with me, but I think this is the telltale game of that division for this season. If DC can put a hurt on Baltimore, but DC's lost 3 in a row, so I don't know. Daniel.
Baltimore got too much of an offense.
Okay, Tyler.
Baltimore hasn't lost a game in the first 7 weeks since we moved to this 14-week system, so Baltimore.
Okay, Andrew.
Yeah, Baltimore.
Yeah, fucking Baltimore. You sounded so defeated when you said that. Nate, the last game on Saturday, Portland and LA. LA. This is a tough one, I think. Daniel, what do you think?
I got Portland, so it's definitely tough.
Yeah, okay. Tyler.
Coin flip, LA.
Yeah, it is a coin flip for sure, I think. And Andrew.
I'm going to say home field edge for Los Angeles.
That's probably a good way to think about it, I would believe. All right, Sunday games, 6:30 p.m. Charleston at Alamo City. Nate.
Alamo City.
Daniel.
Alamo City.
Tyler.
If Florida lose this one, it'll be the first time they'll go under 500 since season 14. I have to pick Florida. Please don't lose.
Okay.
You're on the wrong game.
Here's a good thing. Let me just tell you. I'm going to tell you already lost that one because Florida can't win this game. It's Charleston at Alamo City.
Sorry, I have the website up, but I thought we were going.
Okay, sorry. I'm going in the
that
order
makes
of the
that makes it easier then. It's
Okay.
Alamo City.
Okay, Daniel, are we still good to go on these games so far compared to the website? Tyler's got me nervous
they're
now.
just in different order and slot, but this is still the same game. Yeah.
So, but Mexico and City and Houston, they're not on the list, but they don't have buys?
Mexico and Houston, they are playing 7:00 Eastern. Yeah. So that's.
Oh, I see what they're saying. Oh, they had London and Vegas. I see what. Never mind. I misread that. Didn't see London Vegas at the bottom. We're all good. All right. Andrew.
Alamo City.
He's like,
Tyler confused me.
He's like,
You're welcome. You're
Tulsa's
welcome.
gonna win this game. Fuck. Where are we at? I don't even know where we are now. 6:45 on Sunday. Tulsa at Florida. Nate.
Florida.
And hey, it's not my glasses. They're corn. You said Florida. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Daniel.
I'm taking a guess, and I'm just gonna go to Tulsa. I feel like this could be another Bruin upset.
Well, then this. Okay, so Tyler, I kind of felt like you had something to say about this game.
I've given Bullet so much fodder for bullet points for next week. So please, Florida, please avenge me this week.
Tune in next week when the whole show is bullet points. Andrew, go ahead.
Yeah, Florida.
Florida. Well, I don't see a lot of confidence in these Florida picks. Sioux Falls at Minnesota, 9 p.m. on Sunday. Nate.
Minnesota.
Sioux Falls at Minnesota. Okay. Daniel, I know it's going to be Minnesota.
You don't even have to ask.
I don't even have to ask. Tyler?
Oh, I love a border battle. Minnesota.
Minnesota. And Andrew?
Sioux Falls.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, Sioux Falls showed up this week. I don't know that I would just count them out just because they're playing Minnesota. 9:15 Sunday night, Atlanta at Vancouver. Nate, I think this is going to be a really good game. Who you got?
I've got Vancouver, but I'm trying to see what Charles is saying in chat right now.
You look like an Amish. He's saying the same thing that Kendra said earlier. You look like somebody Amish or something. Daniel.
I liked Atlanta playing more, so I'm going to go with the sweep of Atlanta winning this one.
Ooh, okay. Tyler.
Another good. This one's a much better corn. Much better coin flip than Portland and LA. I swear I haven't had a drop of alcohol today.
It's a way better corn flip. I agree with you.
Yes. Flip ahead of corn. I'm going Legion.
Okay. That's interesting. Andrew.
I'm going Vancouver.
Vancouver. All right, last game of week 3, Mexico City at Houston. Nate, does Houston get their first win of the season?
They do. Houston.
Daniel?
Mexico City.
They do not. Tyler?
Houston fully becomes the Chargers of the SFL, and they lose again by 3 for the third straight week.
Ouch. Okay. And Rastelli, where do you stand on this Mexico City-Houston game?
Mexico City.
Mexico City. So, Nate, the only one with some confidence in Houston on that last week. All right, folks, that is your Week 3 pick'ems by the panel, and that also wraps up the show. Freddie, you around? Oh, shit. Don't make me sing. I don't want to have to sing this. Where'd Freddie go? Is he here?
Sign us off, Tyler.
Oh, there you are, Freddie.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Freddie?
All right, here we go, everybody. Great show, Dave. Very great panelists. Here we go. Turn out the lights. The party's over. They say that all good things must end. Let's call it a night. The party's over. Until next week, we'll bring the party back again. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Freddie. Appreciate it. Thank you to Freddie. Thank you to Gunny. Thank you to Bullet. Thank you to all the party people in the His House. Special thanks to our panel tonight. Nate, the great Nate Dog. That's a lot of nicknames, bro. Daniel Wright, Tyler, and Andrew Rastelli, the Deputy Commissioner of the SFL. Thank you all for being on the show. Appreciate it, everybody. We will see you right back here next Tuesday night when we see you at the Tees. So tune in 9 p.m. Eastern, Tuesdays on Twitch for the next episode, Season 20, Episode 4 of Access Live. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday. Good night now.